Good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Most importantly, I hope you're staying warm. We are finally thawing out here in Southeast Texas. Snow slowly starting to melt, so look out the window. We got about 2 or 3 inches. It was nice, but not overwhelming. I know some of you guys to the east over in Louisiana and Mississippi. I know family in Louisiana, their little town, they got 10 inches of snow. That's just crazy. And I think Florida, parts of them got 8 inches. Kind of crazy. It doesn't snow down here in the south that much, but when it does, we have fun with it. We do. Like I said, 2 or 3 inches, so it wasn't overwhelming. It was fun to just go out and hang out in it for a little bit. Anyway, like I said, I hope you're thawing out. We're going to do our national championship game review, some basketball review, and while we're at it, we're going to go ahead and preview what's going to happen today through next Saturday in college basketball. Go ahead and get that out of the way. Um, let's get started. Got some news? Oh, hit the subscribe button down there. All right, so Ohio State beats Notre Dame national championship game 34-23. We'll go over that here in a few minutes. Same time, Ohio State backup quarterback Devin Brown wins his ring and then transfers to Cal. Sat behind Will Howard. I guess he wasn't too happy with that. Going to go try and start at Cal. Sad news here. Pete Medhurst, voice of Navy football on the radio for the last 12 years, dies of a brain tumor. Age 55. Man, 55 is too damn young. Passed away from a brain tumor. He's been, I think they say he's been with the Navy media program, broadcast program since 1997. But he originally took over 12 years ago for the radio broadcast. So prayers to him and his family and the Navy family. 55, man, that is just too damn young. It really is. That is just horrible. ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips said the league will have conversations among coaches and athletic directors about whether or not to make changes to its conference championship game format, possibly giving regular season champions a bye and have them play, and then the second place and the third place team play each other, and then the regular season champion will play the winner of that. Another possibility is having top 4 conference teams play on the final weekend. Number 1 versus number 4, number 2 versus number 3, and those winners playing the conference championship game, which that sounds not too bad. You'd have to probably configure your schedule around somewhere so leave the last couple weekends open. I don't know if that means you start earlier in August, but that actually be something all the conferences should think about. Leave a couple weeks, maybe start earlier. You're gonna have people there. It doesn't matter if you start in the middle of August. You're gonna have fans at the stadiums. Maybe they should all check that. Save the last 2 weekends for the final 4 teams of the conference. That's something there. That it really catches my eye. I think that might be a pretty good idea. And in the meantime, the CFP says tweaks to the 2025 season format have not been ruled out. They haven't really discussed anything, I don't think, but I think they're probably going to maybe discuss some stuff. I also read today that the Big Ten and SEC, they are meeting together before the CFP meetings. What that's about, I don't know. There's conspiracy theorists out there saying, "Oh, they're going to take over college football now," and I don't know what to make of all that. Marquette, they have promoted their deputy athletic director Mike Broker to athletic director. He'll replace Bill Shell, who is planning on retiring. So Marquette's got a new athletic director. Vanderbilt, man, beat Tennessee. Remember the football season, beat Alabama. Fans stormed the field, beat Tennessee in basketball. Fans stormed the court. SEC has fined them $250,000 for that. Well worth it though. And Arkansas guard Boogie Flan, he's expected to miss the rest of this season. He's got a hand injury, so I'm not sure what it is, but they said he's probably going to miss the rest of the season with it. Okay, Ohio State beat Notre Dame 34-23. The start of this game, Notre Dame, man, they went on that freaking tear, 18 play, 75-yard drive, TD drive on their first drive. They looked like they were ready to play. Then they didn't score until 3 minutes and 3 seconds left in the third quarter. About midway through the second quarter before halftime, I was like, is this going to be one of those games where a team comes out, dominates that first drive, kicks butt, and then do jack crap the rest of the game? It came close to it. Notre Dame did make a comeback. But Ohio State did score 31 unanswered in that one. Where we at? Seemed to me man coverage did Notre Dame in. Probably should have played some zone, because from what I saw, a lot of their defensive backs were getting beat. I don't know what the game plan was in there, but hey. Will Howard for Ohio State, 231 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Judkins, he had 100 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. Smith, 88 receiving yards and a touchdown. Riley Leonard for Notre Dame had a good game. He passed for 255, 2 touchdowns, also ran for a touchdown. He was the top rusher for Notre Dame, 40 yards. I think they have 53 total, but man, what's that say about your rushing game when your quarterback's the top rusher at 40 yards? Or what does that say about Ohio State's defense, too? You could go that way, too. Greathouse, though, 128 receiving yards, 2 touchdown catches. Buckeyes, 9 for 12 on third down, only punted once in this game. That was just crazy. Notre Dame, they're okay, 5 for 12 on third down, not the best, but 3 for 4 on fourth down. They made a lot of conversions on fourth down in this game. Buckeyes, they outgained them 405 to 308. Passing game was pretty even in this one. Rushing game was all Ohio State. They just ran all over them. 214 yards to 53 yards. Just ran all over them. Buckeyes 6 for 6 in the red zone. Notre Dame 1 for 2. Both these teams, Ohio State and Notre Dame, finished the year 14-2. Ohio State, your national champions. The Big Ten has claimed the last 2 national championships in this one. You get these way too early predictions and stuff for the year, for the next coming year. They've already put Ohio State up there. If I remember right, right in the top 2 or 3, I think, chances to win the national championship again, but we'll see. Okay, so moving on from that to basketball Monday. UNC Wilmington, they moved to 14-5. They beat William and Mary by 11. William and Mary did hit 13 3-pointers in this game, so they fought all the way. 10-9 Lamar beat 11-8 Nichols by 4. 9-7 Brown beat 10-6 Cornell by 1. Cooley for Brown, 28 points in that one. Nice game for him. 14-4 Princeton beat 11-5 Columbia, 71-67. Columbia actually led by 18 at the half, and they let that all get away from them. Let's see, 13-6 Georgetown beat 12-8 Villanova by 1. Georgetown's PV, 24 points, had the game-winning layup with 1 second. 8-11 Houston Christian beat 13-7 Texas A&M Corpus Christi by 4. Makes you wonder if Texas A&M Corpus Christi is worried about that ice storm they were getting down there in Corpus Christi this last couple of days. Tuesday, last night, 9-9 Eastern Michigan beat 10-8 Ohio, 94-87. Eastern Michigan, 60% from the field. Pretty damn good. Number 6, Tennessee beat number 14 Mississippi State, 68-56. Last night was really a Super Tuesday. They had a lot of great games last night. Tennessee's Lanier, 23 points. He hit 5 3-pointers. They shot 42% from the field, scored 19 points off of turnovers. Also had 14 fast break points in this one. Hubbard led the way for Mississippi State, 14 points. He hit 4 3-pointers. They shot 34% from the field, and they also got good numbers off of turnovers, 15 points. Kent State, 12-6. They beat 10-8 Toledo, 83-64. Kent State, 100% from the free throw line, and they hit 12 3-pointers in this game. Texas Tech moved to 14-4. They beat 12-6 Cincinnati by 10. Toppin for Texas Tech, 20.7 rebounds. Anderson came off the bench, 18 points behind him. VCU, 15-4. They beat 14-5 Rhode Island, 81-57. VCU, 30 points off of turnovers. God dang. George Mason beat St. Bonaventure, 75-62. Both of them are 15-5. George Mason, another one that shot 100% from the free throw line. St. Joseph's beat Davidson 78-61. Both of them are 12-7. St. Joseph's had 11 three-pointers in this game. Number 4, Alabama brought Vanderbilt back down, beat them 103-87. Diubat for Alabama. Probably not saying that right. Diubat. Hell of a game, though. 22 points, 10 rebounds. Holloway came off the bench, 22 points also. They shot 56% from the field. They scored 17 off of turnovers. Vanderbilt, Edwards, 21 points, 4 rebounds. Nickel, 19 points, 4 rebounds. They shot 39% from the field. Vanderbilt is 15-4 now. 11-8, Ohio State. Pissed off that they didn't win the national championship. In football, they go and beat number 11 Purdue by 3. Ohio State's Parrish, 22.7 rebounds. He hit 6 three-pointers in this game. 17 of his points came in the second half also. They shot 53% from the field and shot a total of 11 three-pointers. Kaufman Reen, 26.7 rebounds. They shot 48% from the field. They, too, 30 points off of turnovers. Man. 17-3 Bradley beat 14-6 Belmont, 89-77. Bradley's Davis, 19 points, 10 rebounds. Dean, Hanna, and Montgomery behind him all had 12 points. Number 3, Iowa State beat 12-6 Central Florida, 108-83. Iowa State, I guess they're pissed off after losing to West Virginia last weekend. Jefferson, 30.7 rebounds, 5 assists for Iowa State, followed by Gilbert, 21.6 rebounds, 8 assists, and Jones, 19.8 rebounds. Ivy Curry for Central Florida, 24 points, and he hit 6 three-pointers, so he had a pretty good game there. 10-9 Minnesota beat 12-7 Iowa, 72-67. Minnesota, 2-game win streak after losing the previous 4, so they're starting to build something there, trying to. 11-7 Arizona State beat number 23 West Virginia, who's still got a hangover from beating Iowa State. Beat them 65-57. 12-6 Arizona beat 10-8 Oklahoma State, 92-78. Arizona State head coach Tommy Hards, his 100th win in 126 games. Not too damn bad. 13-6 Texas beat number 22 Missouri, 61-53. Colma for Texas, 14 points, 12 rebounds. They shot 34% from the field. Listen to this. Bates from Mizzou, leading scorer, 10 points. They shot 31% from the field. Off-shooting night for both these teams, evidently. 15-4 Wake Forest beat 12-8 North Carolina by 1. Close game all the way. Both of them shot 40% from the field. Number 25 Louisville beat 14-5 SMU, 98-73. Louisville Smith, 30 points. He hit a school record 10 three-pointers in this game. Scott and Hadley, 16 points each. They had 19 total three-pointers in this game, Louisville's did. SMU's Cross, 18 points, 8 rebounds. Edwards behind him, 16 points. 13-6 UCLA beat number 8 Wisconsin by 2, 85-83. Mara for UCLA came off the bench, 22 points, 5 rebounds. They shot 51% from the field. They have less three-pointers, less rebounds, but less fouls than Wisconsin. Tanji for Wisconsin, 24 points, 5 rebounds. He hit 6 three-pointers in that game. Blackwell behind him, 23 points, 4 rebounds. They shot 51% from the field. Badgers scored 13 points off of turnovers. Number 15, Oregon. They beat 10-9 Wyoming. Number 15, Oregon beat 10-9 Washington. 82-71. Oregon, 13 more rebounds, and they had 13 points off of turnovers. 10-9 Wyoming, that's what I was getting to. I was jumping ahead. Beat 11-8 UNLV by 2. Wyoming hit 14 three-pointers in that game. All right, coming up here in the next few days. Well, over the next few days. Tonight, 5 p.m., ESPN Plus, 11-6 of Utah versus number 7 Houston. 5:30 on ESPN Plus, 13-7 Rob Morse versus 12-8 Youngstown State. 6 p.m. on BT Big Ten Network, 14-5 Indiana goes to Evanston, plays 11-7 Northwestern. 6 p.m. on the ACC Network, 9-9 Syracuse versus 15-4 Clemson. 6 p.m. ESPN2, number 12 Kansas versus 10-7 TCU. 6 p.m. on FS1, 12-7 Xavier versus number 20 St. John's. 6 p.m. on SEC Network, number 5 Florida versus 10-8 South Carolina. 6 p.m. on ESPN Plus. 14 and 6 Longwood versus 13 and 7 Radford. 7 p.m. ESPN Plus. 12 and 6 Temple versus 13 and 4 North Texas. Finally got a good one on, or could be a good one on TV here. 7 p.m. CBS Sports Network. 13 and 6 Boise State versus 11 and 7 Colorado State. 8 p.m. on Big Ten Network. 11 and 7 USC versus 12 and 6 Nebraska. 8 p.m. FS1. 11 and 7 Nevada versus 16 and 2 Utah State. 8 p.m. ACC Network. 13 and 5 Florida State flies all the way out to California to play Cal, who's 9 and 9. See if that trip does them in. We'll see. 8 p.m. SEC Network. Not too bad one here. 14 and 4 Georgia versus 11 and 7 Arkansas. And then 8 p.m. ESPN2. Got a good one to finish the night. Number 13 Texas A&M versus number 16 Ole Miss. Thursday, tomorrow night, 5 p.m. on ESPN Plus. 12 and 8 Maine versus 13 and 6 UMass Lowell. 6 p.m. on ESPN2. 11 and 7 Wichita State versus number 24 Memphis. 6 p.m. on the CW Network. 14 and 5 UNC Wilmington versus 15 and 4 Charleston. 6 p.m. ESPN Plus. 12 and 6 Lipscomb versus 12 and 7 North Alabama. 6 p.m. on ESPNU. 15 and 4 Samford versus 12 and 7 Chattanooga. 6 p.m. CBS Sports Network. Might be a pretty good game here. 11 and 7 Western Kentucky versus 13 and 6 Louisiana Tech. Another good one. 8 p.m. FS1. 14 and 5 Maryland versus number 17 Illinois. 8 p.m. on ESPN2. 11 and 7 Appalachian State versus 14 and 5 Arkansas State. 8 p.m. on ESPN Plus. 12 and 6 Hawaii versus 11 and 8 UC Davis. 8 p.m. on CBS Sports Network. 16 and 5 San Francisco versus 16 and 3 St. Mary's. That could be a pretty good one there. 8 p.m. on ESPN Plus. Kennesaw State versus New Mexico State. Both of them are 11 and 7. Same time, same network. 8 p.m. ESPN Plus. 11 and 7 Jacksonville State versus 14 and 4 UTEP. 9 p.m. on ESPN Plus. 12 and 6 UC or Santa Barbara versus 15 and 4 UC San Diego. 9 p.m. ESPN Plus. 7 and 2 UC Irvine versus 11 and 8 UC Riverside. And then 10 p.m. CBS Sports Network. 15 and 5 Washington State versus 13 and 7 Santa Clara. Moving to Friday, we got some good basketball games on Friday. 6 p.m. on FS1, 12 and 8 Villanova versus number 10 Marquette. 6 p.m. on ESPNU, 12 and 6 Kent State versus 10 and 8 Ohio. 6:30 ESPN2, 12 and 7 St. Joseph's versus 13 and 6 Dayton. 7 p.m. on Fox. This is going to be a pretty good one here. Number 21 Michigan versus number 11 Purdue. Purdue loses. They're trying to hang on to that number 11 ranking, see if they can beat Michigan and do that. 8 p.m. ESPNU, 15 and 5 St. Bonaventure versus 15 and 4 VCU. 8 p.m. on FS1, 13 and 6 Penn State versus 12 and 7 Iowa. And then 10 p.m. on FS1, 13 and 6 UCLA versus 10 and 9 Washington. It's pretty good games for a Friday night on basketball. All right, wrapping it up, going to Saturday. 11 a.m. on the CW Network, 14 and 5 SMU versus 9 and 9 NC State. 11:30 on ESPN2, 12 and 6 Pittsburgh plays 9 and 9 Syracuse. 12 p.m. SEC Network, number 14 Mississippi State versus 10 and 8 South Carolina. 12 p.m. ESPN Plus, 10 and 8 South Florida versus 11 and 9 Eastern Carolina. 12 p.m. on ESPN Plus, 11 and 7 Jacksonville State versus 12 and 7 Queens. 12:30 on CBS, number 8 Michigan State versus 10 and 9 Rutgers. 1 p.m. on ESPN Plus, number 3 Iowa State versus 11 and 7 Arizona State. 1 p.m. on ESPN Plus, 13 and 8 Winthrop versus 16 and 5 High Point. 1 p.m. ESPN Plus, 14 and 5 Rhode Island versus 10 and 8 LaSalle. 1 p.m. ESPN Plus, 11 and 7 St. Louis versus 13 and 5 George Washington. 1 p.m. on the CBS Sports Network, 12 and 8 Illinois State versus 17 and 3 Bradley. 1 p.m. ESPN Plus, 10 and 6 Cornell versus 14 and 4 Princeton. 1 p.m. on the Flow Network. Hey, Flow's got a game. Delaware versus Drexel. Both of them are 11 and 8. 1 p.m. ESPN Plus, 14 and 4 Miami of Ohio versus 13 and 5 Akron. That might be a good one to have on the tablet. Another good one, 1:30 ESPN. Number 9 Kentucky versus 15 and 4 Vanderbilt. Another one, 1:30 ESPN2. Number 13 Texas A&M versus number 2 or versus 13 and 6 Texas. 1:30 ESPNU. 10 and 9 Tulane versus 11 and 8 Rice. Rice been on a skid lately. 2 p.m. Fox. 16 and 4 New Mexico versus 11 and 8 UNLV. 2 p.m. ESPN Plus. 9 and 9 Colorado versus 12 and 6 Arizona. 2 p.m. ESPN Plus. 11 and 9 Marshall versus 10 and 9 Georgia Southern. Same time, same network. 2 p.m. ESPN Plus. 11 and 8 Texas State versus 14 and 5 Arkansas State. 2:30 SEC Network. 14 and 4 Georgia versus number 5 Florida. That's probably going to be a pretty good game. 3 p.m. Big Ten Network. Number 15 Oregon versus 10 and 9 Minnesota. 3 p.m. ESPN Plus. 10 and 7 TCU versus 12 and 6 Central Florida. 3 p.m. ESPN Plus. 14 and 6 Belmont versus 10 and 9 Murray State. 3 p.m. ESPN Plus. 12 and 7 Chattanooga versus 11 and 8 Eastern Tennessee State. 3 p.m. ESPN Plus. 8 and 8 Manhattan versus 11 and 7 Mount St. Mary's. 3:30 on ESPN. Number 2 Duke versus 15 and 4 Wake Forest. Wake Forest is looking pretty good this year. 3:30 ESPN2 Baylor versus Utah. Both of them are 11 and 6. 3:30 ESPN Plus. 11 and 8 Nichols versus 13 and 7 Texas A&M Corpus Christi. 3:30 ESPN Plus. Morehead State versus SIUE. Both are 12 and 7. 4 p.m. ESPN Plus. 8 and 8 Idaho State versus 11 and 7 Portland State. 4:30 ESPN Plus. 14 and 5 McNeese versus 12 and 7 UT Rio Grande Valley. 5 p.m. SEC Network. Number 16 Ole Miss goes to Columbia, plays number 22 Missouri. That's going to be a pretty good game, I would imagine. 5 p.m. ESPN Plus. 14 and 5 South Alabama versus 11 and 7 Troy. 5 p.m. ESPN Plus. 13 and 7 Santa Clara versus 14 and 6 Oregon State. 5 p.m. on Midco. I guess it's something up north, Midco, because they're going to show 11 and 9 South Dakota versus 12 and 8 South Dakota State. In-state rivalry. 5 p.m. ESPN Plus. 10 and 9 Wofford versus 15 and 4 Sanford. 5:30 ESPN. Number 7 Houston versus number 12 Kansas. That's going to be a hell of a game. 5:30 ESPN, remember. 5:30 ESPNU, 13 and 5 Middle Tennessee versus 13 and 6 La Tech. 6 p.m. on the ACC Network, 13 and 5 Florida State versus 12 and 6 Stanford. So Florida State's flying to California to play Cal. I would imagine they're just going to spend the night because they got to play Stanford a couple days later. If they fly all the way back to Florida State, yeah, it's kind of dumb. 6 p.m. Flow, 15 and 5. I wonder who all that's worked out for. I know football, they're probably going to fly back because that's a whole week in between games. But I wonder what other basketball teams that's worked out for, where they just fly out there, play a West Coast team or East Coast team, and then stay because they're playing another one in the next game. That'd be an interesting stat to look up. All right, where are we? 6 p.m. Flow, 15 and 4 Charleston versus 13 and 6 Elion. 6 p.m. Flow, 10 and 9 Hampton versus 14 and 5 UNC Wilmington. 7 p.m. on Fox, number 19 UConn plays 12 and 7 Xavier. 7 p.m. Sports Network. This is probably going to be a pretty good one. CBS Sports Network, 16 and 3 St. Mary's versus 15 and 5 Washington State. 7 p.m. on Summit League. I guess they got their own channel. 15 and 5 St. Thomas, Minnesota versus 500 10 and 10 Kansas City. 7:30 ESPN. It's going to be a good one here. Number 6 at Tennessee goes to the Plains, plays number 1 Auburn. That's going to be a hell of a game. 7:30 SEC Network, 12 and 6 LSU, who's kind of falling apart. They're going to play number 4 Alabama there in Tuscaloosa. 7:30 ESPN2, 14 and 4 Oklahoma versus 11 and 7 Arkansas. 7:30 on ESPN Plus, Cal Baptist versus Southern Utah. Both of them are 9 and 9, trying to break above 500. 8 p.m. on ESPN Plus, 11 and 7 Kennesaw State versus 14 and 4 UTEP. 8 p.m. ESPN Plus, Jacksonville State versus New Mexico State. Both of them are 11 and 7. 9 p.m. ESPN2, Cincinnati versus BYU. Both of them are 12-6. And rounding out your late games, 9 p.m. CBS Sports Network, 11-5 San Diego State versus 11-7 Nevada. 9 p.m. ESPN Plus, 12-6 Hawaii versus 12-2 UC Irvine. And then again, 9 p.m. ESPN Plus, 12-6 Cal State Northridge versus 15-4 UC San Diego. That is what's coming up. We'll be back Sunday to review everything that happens from tonight to Saturday. In the meantime, hey, it's hump day, middle of the week. Maybe you're off the last couple of days like we were down here because the whole city shuts down because people cannot drive on the ice, cannot drive on snow down here. They can't even drive when it's, if any of you live in the greater Houston area or been in the Houston area, they can't drive when it's sunny like this outside, let alone snow and ice. So we all go back to work tomorrow. Anyway, stay busy, stay warm because it is still cold out there, and we will see you on Sunday.